Yeah, good morning, everyone. Sorry, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible
Good
and
evening,
everyone
sir.
pretty much in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. So, where are we, guys? I think in the last class, we are looking into the inheritance concept. We have seen how to avoid the duplication of the data by making use of this inheritance concept, what type of inheritance JavaScript is supporting, and how do we implement the inheritance between the two static objects and one static object and one dynamic object. Okay, so those things what we have covered in the last class. So the next concept what we have is how do you create classes in JavaScript. Okay, so before going with how do we create classes in JavaScript, first of all we'll understand what do you mean by a class, what is the requirement of having a class over here, and yeah, I mean the etc stuff like implementing the inheritance between the classes, parent class, superclass, like those things we'll be discussing. Okay, so in order to explain what actually the reason that we need a class, so let me create a simple example for that. Okay, uh, let me see this. I see. Okay, so let me create a simple registration page for student. I mean, not the registration. I'll go with the student progress card generator. Okay, I'll say some li student name. Okay, we say some input. We have already done that, but just repeating this task. Say some ID equal to s name. I say class, which class he belongs to. I'll go with the select option. Option value is class 1. Option value is equal to class 2. Okay. I say S class li. I'll go for marks also here. Type equal to text. ID equal to M1. Class equal to marks container. Let me create a separate CSS external file. Say some link tag. srce href is sorry, it is app.css. In the same way, I even would like to go with external JavaScript file. src is app.js file. Okay, so save this guy, app.js, app.css. Okay, so these are the two files I have. Now under this app.js file, okay, before that, let me create some li. Oh, I'm going to give the CSS, right? You will see some width of 500 pixel, margin 20 pixel and auto. Okay, padding 20 pixel. Say some li, list style none, border 1 pixel, solid, 1 pixel solid, say some hash ccc. Okay, say some margin of 5 pixel and padding of 5 pixel. Okay, this is what we have added. Padding of 5 pixel. And another thing is we need to have the marks with a different look and feel, right? So I say dot marks input type equal to text. I say the width as some 50 pixels. Okay. Now if you come back, let's execute this guy. This is how the page is coming. Okay. Let me create a button. Input type equal to say some button. Value is equal to generate progress card. Okay. And on click of this guy, we call a method generate progress card. Okay. Card. Okay, so let's define this guy here in app.js file where generate progress card is a method. Okay, so generate progress card. Okay, now I'm going to give something called as user details is equal to a JSON object, or else yeah, user details is equal to a JSON object. User details dot name is equal to s name document dot query selector hash s name dot value. Okay. Array, come on. Okay. In the same way, let us get the value of a class also. I say user details dot marks is equal to array. And we know that, right? How do we read the dynamic multiple values? Where I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus.
Sir, why did we write parenthesis on after the value?
After line number?
3 and 4.
After 3 and 4. Oh,
After
value. Right. Yeah, sorry. I mistakenly added that. It's just value. It's a property. It's not a method. Okay. So I say where instead of where, let us say where ID. Okay. Now I say ID is equal to hash m plus I plus 1. We know that why I'm doing, so that we'll get as hash m1, hash m2, etc. Now I say document.query selector id dot value. What I can say, user details of marks dot push so and so, right? But one thing, yeah, I think I can do this. But first of all, I need to convert this guy into a number, right? Okay, now I can say user details dot marks. or else instead of push, I can simply say marks of I is equal to parse int of so and so. That will be easy, right? Instead of writing multiple statements. User details dot marks of I is equal to, so we are going to get the value like this. Now after this, let us console dot log user details. I would like to see how actually this object is getting created. Okay, open to this HTML, open inside the browser. This is how it looks like. Okay, let's go into inspect, go to console. Okay, now I say student name, Mr. Raj, marks 89, 23, 90, 23. When I click on generate progress card, it is saying cannot read properties of null, reading a value at line number 9. It is saying document.query selector. Okay, let us say what ID it is coming, console.log ID. Oh, I think how many values I have given? I think I have given only 4 values. Oh, it's all M1, M1 again. It is M2, M2, M4, and M5. Yeah. So now if you reload the page, say some Raj, marks. Okay, this is how we could able to read the object which is having the class, marks, and so and so. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to write a method which is responsible for calculating the total and average. So in general, what we used to do, we used to define a method, something called as get the total average. But as we know, get total and average belongs to this object. Do I need to define that guy? Yes. Now I say user details dot get calculate or get total average, get total and avg is equal to a simple function. We are going to say something like this. Now what I say here, I say user details dot total is equal to 0. Now you say user details, not user details, for var I equal to 0, I less than user details dot marks dot length I plus plus. User details dot total plus is equal to user details dot marks of I. That's it. Okay. On the top, we need to calculate the average. User details dot avg is equal to user details dot total divided by user details dot marks dot length. That's it. Okay, you have the object with all the properties and all the properties added. Now user details dot get grade is equal to a simple function. Okay, what these guys going to do, user details dot grade equal to empty. So if at all user details dot avg greater than equal to 40, user details dot grade is equal to passed, else user details dot grade surprise. Okay, something like I have 2 of the methods.
Sir, grade spelling in sir 24. User details dot grade.
Okay, sorry. It should be great, right? Fine. So we have couple of methods at the same time. I even want to write another method, user details dot show data or show progress card. Okay, so under this progress card, what I want to do is I would like to create a simple empty UL, right? Let me say OL. Okay. Under that OL, okay, let me say OL ID equal to progress card. So first of all, I need to create the li tags here. li1, li2, li3, etc. and all. But here I need to show the name, I need to show the total, average, grade and all. Instead of going to individual, can I simply put a for loop here? I'm sorry, not the for loop, for in looping control structure for var temp or var, yeah, I can say temp key in, what is the object? User details object. Okay, iterate over the JSON object. Now you need to create a li tag equal to document dot query selector li, okay, and li tag dot inner text is equal to user, sorry, I need to put the temp key plus colon so that you'll get some name colon so and so plus user details of temp key. Okay, that's it. Now after this li tag is done, do I need to take this progress card and add over here? Document dot query selector hash progress card dot append li tag. Okay, now if you reload this guy, this is how it is. Now I have a method which you can even show the data. Now what I'm doing, on click of this button, you're creating an object, you're defining the methods, and I simply say user details dot I need to call these guy. I need to say user progress card. Okay. I need to show the show progress card guy, and this guy internally calls user details dot get total and average. That guy internally calls user details dot get grade here. Okay, now if you come back here and and reload the page, now you say the student name Mr. Raj, marks of 89, 23, T8, 67 and 90. Now once you click on generate progress card, you see I got all the details. Okay, total, average and grade. Okay, but what about others? Why the others are not coming? Is it still looping? I say Raj, name, class and marks, 89, 88. What I added here, OL tag under which it is a progress card. And now I'm saying document.query selector.
Line number
Yeah.
34, sir.
Line number 34. Yeah, any problem you see?
Create element.
Oh my God. Yeah, it has to be document dot create element. Okay. Yeah, now I reload the page. I say the student name, Mr. Raj, marks of now you see here, you got all the student details. You see here, I got the name, I got the class, I got the marks, but at the same time at the bottom, you see the total, average and pass. But what is this three methods also coming over here? Why the reason the three methods are coming? The reason is if you console.log user details, I want to see what actually this object is. Now, if you reload the page, I say the name, Mr. Raj, marks of so-and-so. Okay, once I click on generate progress card, if you inspect this guy, go to the console, you see the object. So when I see this object, it is having average, it is having class. Is it not the get grade, get total, and show progress card methods are also part of the JSON object? Yes. Now, when you are running this iterator for loop here, for in looping control structure, it will go to every key value, right? Including the function what you have added or including the behavior what you added. That is the reason it is even showing that, okay, the key is name, its value is Raj. The key is marks, its value is so-and-so. The key is get total and average and its value is so-and-so. That is how it is showing. Now, what if my requirement is, no boss, I don't want to show the functions. I want to skip it. Now I can do, how do I say a variable is holding a function or not? Or how do I say that what type of data type a variable is? Come
Type
on,
of.
we call type of method. So we are going to see the type of methods here. So I will simply say, before showing this data, if at all, type of this user details of them, whatever the value you are going to show, if the type of is not equal to function, if it is not equal to a function, then only you show the data, whatever the logic you have added, then only you show this data. Otherwise, don't show it. Save this. Now, if you come back and reload the page, now I say the student name, Mr. Raj, marks of so-and-so. Okay, when I click on generate progress card, this is how you got the progress card. Super fine. Now, the next thing what I have is, say for example, okay, once after this thing is done, I would like to go with the second student. Now I can say some Tina, and so details I'm giving. Okay, now I click on generate progress card. What is happening? Is it not generating, appending the multiple details here? No, I don't want to append this guy. Then what I can do, before adding the data, first of all, you clear the data, document.query selector hash so-and-so dot inner HTML is equal to empty. I mean, don't have anything within this, or else dot empty is the method we have or not. I'm not very much sure here. Let me say empty. In jQuery, we guess we have. I'm not sure. Let us see this, whether it's happening or not. Once I click on generate progress card, inspect console. Yeah, empty is not a function. Okay. So then you can see inner HTML is equal to empty. Now, if you come back, reload the page, I say Mr. Raj, marks, say some. Okay, now I click on generate progress card. Raj progress card got created. Now I go for, say, some Tina. Okay, I go for marks of so-and-so, class of third. Now if I click on generate progress card, see Tina details are coming. Okay, you're clearing it out and you're creating a new thing here. Okay, super fine. This is what the example we have created. I think earlier also we have done. What are we doing is, on click of the button, you are reading the data from the user, whatever he is passing. Now you're defining the get total and average, and you're defining the get grade, you're defining the progress card. Now you're simply calling that guy. So any questions up to this, guys? Anyone? Anyone?
No.
Can you explain the program, please?
That is what I was doing till now, right? Can you tell me what step you have problem?
Actually, I didn't understand from starting what you did.
Okay, Anteshwar, this is actually the repetition I'm doing. Remember, like we have already done this progress card generator. Anyway, let me show it to you. Okay, the first thing is, you have the way whenever user fills the data, the name, the class, and the marks. Once he clicks on the generate progress card, we should able to read the data from the user, and we need to show the progress card for the end user. That is what our requirement. Now, once you click on the button, what actually it is happening? Up to line, from line number 2 to line number 11, you are reading the data from the user. Okay. Now, at line number 13, we are defining a method which is responsible for calculating the total and average. At line number 22, we are defining the method who will get the grade system for the user. At line number 31, we are defining a method responsible for showing the data back to the user. And now you're simply calling show progress card. That's it. It will internally call get total. It will internally call get grade. It will internally call show the details to the user. Am I clear here, Anteshwar?
So what this var li tag, document create element, li tag, inner text, temp key.
Anteshwar, you're not attending the yesterday's and previous day classes. Have you attended it?
Yesterday, actually, I attended 1 hour, sir. After that, I could not attend.
Okay, so can anyone tell me, guys, like what is the use of this create element?
Creating a tag dynamically.
Dynamically creating a element. So right now, if you see on load of the page, do you see the progress card block? No. Now I want to create the elements dynamically through JavaScript. You know that when I say this data, say some Raj or class or marks, say some so-and-so, like this. Now, once I click on generate progress card, JavaScript is reading the data. JavaScript is having the total and average. Now, JavaScript need to show the data back to the user. Yes. In order to show the data back to the user, we are creating a li tag. Under that, we are setting the value. We are creating another li tag. Under that, we are setting the class. We are creating under this. So this is all happening through the HTML coding. Am I clear? Okay. Any more questions, guys? Anyone? Sorry, could you repeat again? Can you tell me the line number?
Temp keys. Temp key.
Line number 34.
Okay, this temp key. Guys, I mean, these things. Okay, can anyone tell us what actually the temp key is, guys? Anyone? Come on.
To store the values.
Temp key is create a temporary
User-defined value.
Temporary
Store the
variable. Hold the all
When fetching the data from JSON,
Hold the value of user details.
It holds the values of user detail in temp key.
Awesome, nice. So whenever you say something called, this is done many number of times, but anyway, repeat it. So let us say some var, say some data is equal to a JSON object, say some name equal to Raj, say some age equal to say some 10, gender equal to say some male. This is a JSON object. Now I want to loop over this object. Looping in the sense, you know, repeatedly I want to go to each and every key value. Now whenever I say for loop, var temp in data. So what this for in looping control structure will do, it will go to every key value within the JSON object. And the temp initially, what is the temp value? It will be name. My second iteration, temp will be age. My third iteration, temp will be gender. So for in is a looping control structure using which you could able to iterate over a JSON object. While it is iterating, you could able to take the key from the object. I mean, the key will be stored under this temporary object.
Yes.
Yeah. Any more questions? Anyone from this example? Okay, fine. Now, my next step is, or else forget about the next step. Like if you clearly see this guy, can you tell me, is there any repetitive process going to happen in this code? Do you think, is there any repetitive process going to happen in this code? Okay, let us see the process here, guys. User is clicking on the button. Guys, observe it clearly so that you will get an idea what actually the reason we go with the classes. It is not like, okay, what is class and how to define a class. It is always good to know why the reason you go for the class. So to understand that, you need to understand this flow. Now, anytime user is clicking on this generate progress card, what are we doing here? Reading the data from the user. Step number one. The second thing is we are defining the method. What do you mean by get total and average? You are defining the piece of code. What do you mean by get grade system? You are defining the code. What do you mean by show progress data? You are defining the code. Later, you are invoking the methods. Super fine. And the method you invoke, automatically the corresponding method will be invoked. Okay. Now the student one data will be shown. Now you click on the button again for the second student. Okay. Again, you are reading the data from the user because second student data is going to be different data. But the time you're going for defining the total and average for second student, do you really change the way of calculating the total and grade system, or it will be the same for every student?
Same for every
It will
student.
be same.
Obviously,
It
right?
will
When I
same.
want to calculate the total, when I want to show the grade system, when I want to show the details to the user of any of the student data is the one which is different, but the way you calculate the total, the way you show the grade system, the way you display the data to the user, it's all going to be the same, right? Yes. Then if it is the same, why the hell are we unnecessarily redefining this data n number of times? 1,000 times, 1,000 users are 1,000 students are coming, they are clicking on generate progress data. You are defining these three methods for again 1,000 times, which is like invalid code. Why the reason you're unnecessarily decreasing the performance of the page? Let us take a practical example, guys. Say for example, I am working in one of the car company. Assume I am working in one of the car company. Now, I have my job is I need to design a car. Okay. Obviously, in order to design a new car, do I need to do a lot of R&D here? Yes, I need to do a lot of R&D saying that, okay, how the performance I need to increase. Some R&D I will do. I will create some steps like, okay, these are the steps I need to design the car. Now I have created one of the car. Now, my manager asked me, create the same car for the second time. When I have to create for the second time, do you think I need to again restart from the scratch of researching it? Or I can simply follow the previous steps and just create the car? Come on.
Previous step.
Follow the previous steps, right? Why the hell unnecessarily I go to the way of definement, how to do the research, etc. things. Again, I have to redefine unnecessarily time waste. The same thing you're doing over here. You have already said that. What do you mean by total? What do you mean by get the grade? What do you mean by show the data? That should be only once. 1,000 people are coming, 1,000 times you just simply call them. Why you are going to redefine them? This is where your classes is going to come into the picture. Anytime you want to create multiple objects having same type of behaviors but different attribute values or different property values, you simply go with the classes. Repeating again, anytime you want to define you want multiple JSON objects to be created, every object is going to have the same set of properties, having same set of functionalities. Value of the property might be different. Now, if I go over here, say, for example, let me take this user details student. Understand it clearly, guys, or else I already have this, right? Okay, this is what the data, this is the student data one I have. Okay, I say display data. Display student data is going to be a function, something like this. Under this, you have some definition, or else let's even copy the definition. Oh man, okay, let's try this. Now I say get total and AVG. I say a function. Okay, let's define some set of instructions here. Okay, some instructions are there. I say get grade function, something like this. Okay, this is the student one object, which is having some 3 behaviors, but with different data. Now, when I go with the different student, obviously it will be data too. Only the data will be changing, not the property names and not the behaviors, right? I say some Tina, age is some 11, value is should be female. But when I go to the display data, total average and get grade, is it is going to be same or different for different students?
It's same, sir.
Same. Now, when it is same, why the hell are you redefining this again and again? If you are looking into this example, the same problem you are doing, you know that, okay, you need to read this data multiple times because like every user is going to have the different data. But when you're defining the behavior is going to be the same. Let's take another practical example. Now say I have a very big venture, guys. Say for example, I have 1 acre of place. Under that, I want to construct some hundreds of houses. Okay, I want to construct hundreds of houses and it's a gated community. And I'm sure that every house is going to have the same type of look and feel. Okay, super fine. Now, in order to create one of the home, obviously I'll be doing some R&D so that I'll be coming up with a plan so that I can utilize the complete space, whatever I have. One plan I have created, one house got constructed. When I going for the second home, do I need to reuse the same plan or do I need to unnecessarily waste my energy and get stressed out and create the plan again? Do I need to reuse it or do I need to recreate the plan again?
Reuse it.
Reuse it, right?
Sir,
Anyway,
reuse.
even though I create it, it's going to be the same. So how do I avoid that? This is where your JavaScript classes are going to come into the picture. Anytime you have more than one object having the same structure, okay? Anytime you have more than one object having the same structure with different data, simply go with a class. If I say one student is having this data, second student is having something called as PAN number, okay, something called as Aadhaar number. Now I have 2 students here. One object is this and second object is this. Now is the properties are changing? Yes, don't go with the classes. Go with 2 individual objects. You need to go with the class only if you want to have the same type of objects to be created multiple times. Having the same structure, same behavior, but values are going to be changed. This is where we go with the class. So class is something like a skeleton. A skeleton with all the common properties. You just need to inject the values for that. Behaviors you can simply reuse. Okay, practical example. Say for example, I have taken the example of car building, right? Now for the first car, I have created some steps. I did some research. In order to create a second car, simply take a copy of the existing skeleton, whatever we have created. Follow the same. If I want to create a third car, take a copy of it, create a third car. That is how simple it is. So this is what we need to do when you go with the classes. So in JavaScript, how do you create a class? Okay. Earlier, before ECMAS 6, we used to go with something called as a function itself with the class name. Using the function keyword itself, we used to create it. But from your ECMAS 6, it is supporting a keyword, something called as a class. So anyway, that functions are not used. That is the reason this is one of the topics I'm going to discuss from your ECMAS 6. Anyway, we have a separate classes, 2-3 classes I'll be taking only to cover the ECMAS 6 concepts. Okay. So now it is supporting a keyword called as class following with the class name. What is the name of the class you want to go with? And open and close the braces. Now you define the properties. Now you define the behaviors. This is how you are going to define a class. Okay. First of all, let me create a simple example how to create a class, how to create an object. Then I will come back to the student details example. Then I will show you how do you convert the same guy into the class. Okay. So I say JS classes. So guys, any questions up to this? Only theoretical part of classes? Anyone? Practical I'll show you, but any questions before we go for the next?
Sir, please explain difference between inheritance and classes once briefly.
When you say inheritance, it is simply reusing the data. Once you have multiple objects, you want to use the data of one object into another object. That is what we call it as inheritance. When I say class, class is a skeleton. You can reuse the same copy for n number of times instead of redefining them. That is what the difference between the inheritance and class. In order to create inheritance, two objects are there. Now you implement the inheritance to reuse the data from one to another. But when I go for when I go for a class, no need of objects, right? No need of having two classes, because one class is there. I want to have a copy of it. You simply take a copy. Okay. Am I clear, Robin?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Next, any other questions? Anyone? Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
There any difference between JavaScript and Java classes?
Almost like the same, Shiva, but I mean, the concept is going to be the same. But when you go to the Java classes, the way you define that, like the data type, you need to specify the access specifiers. There is a chance a class can implement an interface. Extending a class, it's also there in JavaScript also. But other than that, the conceptual wise, the syntactical wise, it is changing. But conceptual wise, JavaScript classes, I mean, because it's object-oriented concept, right? So it is same across the applications. Maybe once I define the syntax, you can still see the difference between Java class and JavaScript class. Okay. Okay, so let us say a simple piece of code. I say some script. I say a class. How do you define a class here? You use a keyword, something called as class, following with class name. Most of the times, class name is always recommended to start with a uppercase. Okay, I say book details, open the brace and score the brace. This is how you are going to create a class in JavaScript. Under this class, you can define under this class, there is a concept, something called as constructor. This is again a difference between a Java and the JavaScript. In case of your JavaScript or other technologies, whenever we say constructor, constructor will have the same name as like the class. But in JavaScript, we don't have the method name as the class name, constructor name as a class name, but the constructor itself is a keyword using which you're going to define the constructor. Okay, we are not going to make use of the class name as the constructor name, but it is going to have another keyword like constructor here. Under this constructor, you are going to instantiate or you are going to initialize the class variables. Under the book, I will be having something called as this dot book name. Book name is equal to say something called my dreams. Okay, this dot book price is equal to say some 345. This dot book author is equal to say something called as Danny, like this. Now under this class, we can even give the behavior also. Like say for example, get total discount. You don't need to add any type of keyword, any type of anonymous function. No, you can if you want to give anonymous function, you can simply give like this. But if at all you want to give, you can simply say discount open square brace. Open the braces, just you simply write it out. This will be automatical. You don't need to say this dot get total discount, this dot so and so. No, any method which is defined in the class will automatically become a class method. Now you simply say get discount. Now I say where I say console.log the discount of book is plus is something called a sometime. Let me put the percentage also. This dot discount equal to 20%. Now I simply say plus this dot discount. Okay, In the same way, I put another method, get book details. See, I'm simply writing the methods. I'm not saying object dot so and so. You don't need to. Now I say console.log book name plus, if it is a class variable, you can simply say this dot book name. Console.log book price, this dot book price. Console.log author this dot book author. That's it. Okay, now I'm defining a class called as book details, having a constructor. Under that, I'm giving 4 properties for the book and 2 behaviors for the book. What is get total and what is discount. So this is one time defining. Now, if at all I want to make use of the class data cannot be used anytime directly, because class is like a skeleton. It is like a blueprint of the object. Now, how do you create an object for the class? I say B1 is equal to book1 is equal to new is a predefined keyword supported in JavaScript, using which we can instantiate a class. Okay, I simply say new book details. We are instantiating the class called as book details. Implies a copy of this structure will be part of the B1. Now, if you console.log B1, let us see what is the structure it is going to throw for B1. Open in the browser. Now, if you inspect this guy, go for console, you see B1 is something like this. Now, once I open this guy, is the B1 object is having 4 properties following with the behaviors? Yes. Now the advantage what I have is, if I have to create the object for the second book, I don't need to redefine them. Simply say new book details of, as simple as it is. B1 equal to new book details, B2 is equal to new book details. That's it. Now the objects are ready. Now if you reload this guy, see here, B1 is one of the book details, B2 is one of the book details. Once you define a class, any number of objects can be created, 100, 200, 300, 1,000, millions, any number of objects can be created for a single class. But here you may put me a question, what is the reason you are creating those many objects? Because every book is going to have the same details, then what is the use of this blueprint? I don't need to have it, right? Why it is every time going with the same details of my dream, so and so, so and so. Now you need to create a class. Anytime if you hard code the book details, or anytime you hard code the class data, it is going to be repetitively same for every objects. That is the reason, don't hard code the book objects data within the class. Don't hard code the object data within the class. Then what I need to do here, I simply say, I don't define this data. What I'm going to do, when I'm creating the object, now you pass the data. I say book name, something called as my dreams, comma, book price, say something called as some 2000, book author, say something called as Tina, book discount is 20%. Okay, let's just give me a second. Okay, yeah, sorry guys. So now what I'm doing here, whenever I'm creating a new book, I'm simply passing this data. Now, when you're passing this data, who is going to catch this data? The constructor is going to catch this data. Now, I say name, comma, price, comma, auth, comma, discount. Now you simply assign this data to this guy. Book name will be name. These guy will be price. These guy will be auth. This guy will be discount. Clear? Now the advantage is if I want to create for the second book here, you simply pass the parameter. Say something called as my soulmate. Okay, say something called as some 1,000. Say something called as some Krish, 10%. That's it. Now if you come back, reload the page. Do you see two objects are getting created having same structure? Same structure in the sense, same number of properties, same behaviors also. But the data is going to be different. Now the advantage what I have is 1,000 books need to be created. Are you defining this behavior again and again? No. You simply say where B3 is equal to new book details. What data it is? Object is ready. This is why we go with a class. If any time in a program, you are going to create only a single object for it, don't go for classes. At least you have more than one object, simply go with the classes. And that too, same structure. It is not like one employee details object, one student details object. No, it is not like you need to go with the class. Both should be two static objects. Two employees, then you create a class. Okay. And one more thing is, if you clearly see, whenever you want to invoke this guy, you simply say b1.bookDetails. Okay. Let me say this dot get total discount. And I simply say b1 dot get total, not total discount. I say get book details. Okay. In the same way, I say b2 dot get book details. If you come back and reload the page, see here, book details are coming. Super fine. Now, these are the methods you have defined them. You are invoking them. But the question what you should have is constructor is also one of the method, but you are not calling it. Why so? Constructor is one of the very special method for every class. In JavaScript, constructor is the mandatory method to be added for every of the class, which is the method cannot be invoked by user manually. This is the method which gets invoked automatically whenever you instantiate a class. Instantiating in the sense, creating an object for the particular class. Whenever you create an object for a particular class, automatically the first thing what happens is constructor is the method which gets invoked. Okay. Yeah. I know you might be having a lot of questions, but yeah, go ahead one by one.
Can we have multiple constructors?
In JavaScript, it is never supporting the concept of polymorphism, which means overloading is not supported. Doesn't matter whether it is a method overloading, which is called constructor overloading, is also not supported in JavaScript. Doesn't matter whether you follow with different parameters, but it is not supporting the function overloading. Indirectly, constructor overloading also doesn't work.
Okay.
Next.
Sir, this keyword is mandatory with constructor.
It is very much mandatory. Until and unless you don't specify it as this dot, it won't become the class variable. Now you say where say some book color equal to something called as red. Okay, I'm not using this operator. Now if you come back and reload the page, do you see the book color in your class property?
No.
That's it. Whenever you don't use this object here, implies that won't become the object property. It will be like a normal variable.
Okay, sir.
Next. Come on, guys, questions.
The
Sir,
class and
could you-
object are more preferable.
Sorry, Sayed, could you repeat again?
The class and object is more preferable than other when we are writing code.
Then, I mean, that is what, right? I mean, when you say preferable in the sense,
Sir, it seems like good practice to use class and object in every
obviously
program.
it should be every time you need to go with the classes or objects. That's it. Initially,
Okay, sir.
whatever we have done, that is all for the knowledge, guys. I do,
Okay, sir.
openly speaking, I mean, I need to start with classes. But if I directly start with classes and all, you guys will be having a lot of questions. So I'm just moving you guys like stage by stage, stage by stage, stage by stage. Now you're almost onto the top stage where you have to start making use of the object-oriented features. Okay, next.
So what if at the line number 33 with the data which we are hard coding, if we miss like if we pass like price first and then book name later, or like whatever the parameters we are passing, the order yeah.
Yeah, I got your point. So you mean to say, what if the order of the parameter is changing? Obviously, your data is going to be lost. Now here I say something like this. It will take author name as 20%, this name as Tina. That is the reason it is not mostly recommended to pass it like this. Can I do something like this? Where obj1 is equal to name. Okay, name is my dreams. Okay, price is 2000. Auth is Mr. Daniel. Okay, discount is 20%. Okay, now here, can you simply pass an object name here? Because one issue with number, I mean, two issues we have when you pass parameters as comma separated, as you identified, if the values are exchanging their position, then the data is getting corrupted. And the second thing is, right now it is 4 parameters. Okay, you say comma, comma, comma separated. What if you have to pass 50 parameters? Do you say 1, 2, 3, 4? It's not like valid way of doing the coding. That is the reason you make it as an object. Now the constructor guy will receive it as obj. Now it will be obj.name, obj.price, obj.auth, obj.discount.
OBJ1.
Sir, OBJ1.
Come on, is it obj1?
Yeah.
Come on, obj1 it is.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me here this obj1 is formal parameter or actual parameter?
Formal parameter.
Line
Formal.
number 38 is actual parameter or formal parameter?
Formal.
Guys, everybody, I forgot what actually we discussed JavaScript. The parameter what we pass at the time of calling the function, is it is actual or formal? Actual parameter. Actual. Now you say actual. What about the what initial stage? Come on, guys, you forgot everything. So this is the time, the time we are going to pass the object at the time of calling the function is the actual parameter. The guy who is going to catch the parameter at the definition of the function, we call it as formal parameter. Now you tell me, here it should be obj1 or obj is also working?
OBJ is also working.
It works because it's a formal parameter.
Yeah.
Don't get confused. Yeah, come on. Next.
Sir, can I add another key between the constructor outside the classes?
Once you define the variables within the constructor, then only it will become class variables. If you want to make it outside, you can say this dot so and so. Not out of the constructor, not out of the method. You need to say for example, this dot test equal to say some sample. Now this test also becomes the object property.
Okay, sir.
Next.
Sir, could you repeat new keyword? Actually, when I will use new keyword, before that one example you gave, at that time you use new keyword.
Okay. What do you mean by new? New is something called taking the copy of the Xerox into an original. Practical example. Practical example. Okay, whatever the business plan, I mean, whatever the construction plan I said, right? I will be designing a blueprint in order to construct 100 homes. Every home is going to have the same type of look and feel. Now, am I going to start with the blueprint? Yes, the blueprint is equal to the class. Now, when the home one need to be constructed, do I need to take a copy of the plan? Yes, I will convert the blueprint into the master print with all the values being inserted. That is what we call it as new keyword. New is a predefined keyword using which you can instantiate an object. Creating an object of a class is called as instantiation, which will be done only with new keyword. Am I clear, Sonali, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is it mandatory to create instantiation of the class after class creation or before class creation?
We cannot access the data of a class until and unless we don't instantiate it. And now, what is your question? What if I take this step, P1 step, to the starting of this? Later
show errors.
in this class, if you reload the page, it cannot access book details before initialization. Until and unless you have the class, you cannot initialize, you cannot instantiate it. Next.
Sir, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Does the constructor return any value within the JavaScript, or is it literally just creating an object and initializing it? So once the code is executed, will the constructor return any values as such?
Okay. Whenever you say returning a value, for that, a function has to be called. Until and unless you call it, that guy cannot return it and you cannot catch it. Agree or not, first thing?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing what you need to observe over here is we are not manually calling the constructor. We are not saying that constructor guy, please get invoked. Right? So as we are not calling the constructor, there is no way you can catch the data from the constructor. As there is no way you can catch the data from the constructor, constructor is never ever going to return any data. It's simply the job is to instantiate the class variables of the particular class, and it gets invoked automatically immediately after you create an object of the particular class.
Okay, so we can't actually use it to return primitive values and whatnot, like numbers, etc., or strings and whatnot.
No, the reason is straightforward, right? Because now if you say get total discount, can it return some data? Yes. Why so? I could be able to call it so that I can catch it. Now, when you couldn't able to catch this guy, what is that guy he's going to return? Nothing, right?
Yeah, he's not going to return anything. Okay.
Yeah. Next.
Sir, is there any concept of subclasses, sir?
We do have that. I'm going to discuss that later. Okay, first of all, maybe let us, there are some more things on the top of classes. So we'll get clear on this, then I will come for that. Next.
So at line number 39 and 41, we are passing B1 and B2. We are passing the data statically. Now let's say whenever we are passing data dynamically, like B1, it will only reference B1, right? After that, it will not create multiple copies.
Mayur, I'm sorry that I didn't understood your question. Could you please?
Yes. Well, let me repeat again. Like B1, we are like B2, we are passing my soulmate a book name, beat for B2 1000. So statically we pass this data. So it will keep there. Now, whenever we are passing dynamically, we'll give some reference to B2 only, right?
Obviously.
Yes. So whenever B2 is done, now I added one more book. So after that, in implicitly, it will create one more copy, or it will refers to B2 only.
Whenever you say new operator, it will always create new instantiation. I got your question. So what is your question is, okay, initially you said, okay, forget about this book one. I have only B1. Okay, you created the book of book one. One object got created. When you go with the second object, again, new book details of so-and-so, do you think it is using the existing B1 object or it's creating a new object? Anytime you say new operator, it is going to create new instantiation for the particular class. It doesn't use the existing instantiation.
Okay.
Next. Come on, guys, more questions. Hope everyone is clear. What are we achieving with the classes?
Sir, is it is it safe for me to say this? Like, this is based on yesterday's information as well, just so I can solidify it in my brain. A prototype is basically just an object, essentially, while basically a constructor is you can think of it like a so it shows the function that created basically the object rather than actually giving you any values as such. It's basically like a pointer. Am I right in thinking it that way?
Constructor, you can say it is a place where you can instantiate the class variables. That's it. Obviously, you'll be having some class variable. Now, when I'm designing a car, what are the class variables a car will be having? Car color, number of gears,
tires,
gear
etc.
type, number of tires, or tire type, etc. These are properties. So where you're going to initialize them? Obviously, it should be within the constructor.
Yeah.
That is where the constructor is. Constructor is a place where you're going to instantiate the class variables, as simple as it is. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas prototype is actually the object itself, the actual like physical car itself.
Property in yes, prototype is something called an object where you can extend the behavior of an object using the prototype.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
More questions? Clear, everyone?
Hello, sir.
Go
I
ahead,
have a question.
Go ahead, Pankaj.
In object 1, line number 33, we define name, price, auth, and discount. When we write a discount to first one.
Okay.
So how read the actual object parameter? How read the data? So serial wise, yeah, ordered wise.
Okay. So whenever you go with the objects, first of all, doesn't matter whatever the order you follow. You put over here, okay, something like this. Order is changing. But the advantage what you have with the JSON object is when I'm saying obj.name, doesn't matter where is your order. I will simply get the name. When I say obj price, I will simply find out where is the key called as price, give me the value. Order never ever changes. So here you're putting name. Now here I change the order of this guy here. It always works. That is advantage with the JSON object, right? When you go with the array, that is what the limitation. You need to follow the order. Order changes, value changes. But coming to the JSON object, when the memory is getting allocated, as the key is being assigned to each and every value within the JSON object, so the order never matters.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Sir, as you said earlier, everything should be enclosed in object, so as to make it secure.
Exactly.
So in this case, by using class, so the class will be separate, right? We need to utilize it in based on our requirement. So
Yes.
is it feasible?
Yes, it is, right? Now, if you see, that's a good question actually. So what he's saying is, boss, earlier you said everything wrap it into an object, but now you are making a class as an individual and B1 as an individual object. But if you see, even B1 is also object or not. Can you access the data of the data under the B1? It is actually secured, you know? Or now if you see, once you inspect, okay, this is gone. Okay, once you see this book details object, I have this data. Can you access the book name without having an access for the book object one, B1?
No, sir.
That's it, right? The data is still secured. If it is part of an object, I'm not saying that everything should be on a single object. I said like every data should be part of an object. Now you don't have any scattered data. It's all just binded into an object. All the data of the behaviors, properties, everything is part of B1 now. It's secured.
Okay, sir. And also I have one more question. So if we create multiple objects, can we just assign one object value to other?
If we have, sorry, could you repeat again?
Multiple objects. So if here we have B1, right? So similarly, if we have another object B2, so can we use the assignment operator and equate the values of one object to other?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Next.
So can we just say proto like yesterday, like we did?
The proto will be part of object one, right? Okay, now if we expand this guy, anyway, everything is object, right? Now if we expand this, do you see the prototype here? Underscore proto. It's there, right?
Yeah.
So when we say an object, obviously, like when I say object, every object is going to have the prototype and proto.
Okay.
And if you say it is not having for the class, I'm not saying because class cannot be used. I mean, blueprint. Have you ever seen the blueprint will be used anywhere directly? No. It's all the copy of the blueprint what is being used. So class cannot be used. Class won't have anything called as prototype or proto because we cannot access the class data directly until unless we can create an object of it. Next. That's it. Clear, everyone? We can go forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Now we understood a simple information like what is a class, how to create a class, how to create an object, and there is no limitation that how many objects to be created for a class. Okay, come back to your old example. Let us say app.js file. The problem what we see for the student details is we are reading the data, we are defining the methods, etc. and all. Okay, don't do the repetitive process. What I'm going to do, okay, let me create a separate app.js file, guys, so that you will understand the difference. Okay, app.js, app underscore new.js. I'm creating a separate file. Okay, copying the same piece of code so that when you want to refer, you can refer both. Earlier, how it was, now how it is. Okay, now what I want to do, first of all, create a class. What is the keyword we go for creating a class?
Class.
Something called as student details. Do I need to put any open brace and all? No, just flower brace here. Okay, the first step is what is the method we need to have under the class?
Constructor.
Okay, this is the constructor. Okay, I will go with the values, but can I directly copy these properties here directly? User details dot total. I can define this method like this: get total and average. No assignment operators and all. Simply define this method like this. And instead of use details, can I say this dot here? This dot, and this guy will be this dot. It will be this dot, this dot. Okay.
Sir,
Next.
one more this. No, that's fine. Sorry.
Fine, right?
Yeah. That is this dot total.
Which one, ma'am?
Sir, line number 10.
Line 10. This dot total.
This the total.
Yeah. Okay. And the next one, get grade system. Let me remove this guy. Get over here. I say get grade. Okay, this guy will be this dot, this dot, this dot. Okay, this dot. Fine. Good. Now you go back to the show progress card also. Copy this guy. Okay. Anywhere I'm missing? No, right? Okay. Now I don't even need this show progress card also. Super fine. Okay. Now I have this constructor. For this constructor, first of all, what I'm doing, I'm creating a simple user details. This process I need to do it because every time I need to read the data. Now I got the data. Now what I can say, where S1 student1 is equal to new student details of user details. I'm simply passing this user details object. Now this user details object will be coming over here as something called as some obj. Now what I'll say, this dot name, is it his name I given?
No, I thought you said this dot user details.
No. How I'm reading the data. Okay, this dot name, class and marks. Okay, this dot s name equal to obj dot name. This dot age I said.
No,
Age.
sir.
What I said then? Class.
S class, sir.
Class equal to obj dot class. What else? Class name and marks.
Sir, in S class, C was in small.
In S class, C was small.
Yes, sir.
Line number.
Line number
okay,
42, sir.
This is ID, right? ID doesn't matter over here.
Oh,
We only the only thing matters is the actual key. The
Okay,
key what I'm using is class. Okay, that's it. Now if you save this guy, okay. Now I don't need to. Okay, S1, right? Now I simply say S1 dot show progress card. Okay. Now if you reload the page, okay, these guys should be app underscore new, right? Earlier I made it as app.js. Now it should be app underscore new.js. Now if you open these guys in the browser, this is how I have the form. I say some Prasad. Okay, class some third 89 45. Okay, now if you click on generate progress card, do I see the details average as NAN? Total is 0. Why the class is coming to that guy?
Object dot marks.
Sir, you took input as a class instead of marks at this keyword.
Oh, is it so? Line number, please. Oh, okay.
Line number 5.
Come on, you're saying this after I get an error? Okay, so now if you reload the page, I say some Tina, marks some 89, 34, 44, 89 and 78. Okay, once you click on generate progress card, I'm getting the data. Okay, go with the second student here. Say some Raj, some class as some third, 23. Click on generate progress card. New record is coming. Now you tell me how many times you are defining what do you mean by get total and average?
only once.
One time.
1 second, guys. Yeah. How many times I'm doing this? One time.
Only once.
How many times I was defining the grade system? One time. How many times I'm defining the progress card? Once. But how many times I'll be creating the object here? Any number of times. Yesterday, someone asked this. I think Mayur asked this question. Boss, how do you hold all the objects what you're creating? Now you say 100 objects are 100 students are there. But where are the objects? Because if you see, I click at generate progress card, student 1 is coming. Again, click on generate progress card, same S1 is getting S1 is getting replaced. Now what I can do is you create a simple where S details is a simple array. Keep an array, empty array. Now after we create the S1 object, you simply S details dot push S1, as simple as it is. Okay. After this, console this guy, console.log S details. Now if you save this guy, come back, reload the page. Now I say, first of all, Mr. Prasad is coming, class 1, 23, 45, 67, 78, and 99. Click on generate progress card. Student 1 is gone. Okay, now I say some Tina, class 2nd, say some 99, say some 45. Click on generate progress card. Okay, Prasad is gone, Tina has come. Okay, say something called as some Krish is coming, class some 4, 66. Okay, now when I click on generate progress card, now if you clear these guys, when I click on generate progress card, Tina is gone, Krish has come. But do you have the array of objects where each object representing the each student, once you expand each and every object, they have their properties and they have their behaviors, get grade, get total, get progress card, etc. and all. This is what we call it as pure object oriented and the concept of making use of classes and objects. Do you think? Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
As you just showed, like the object has every details, like before students also. So can we like retrieve the data?
Retrieve the data in the sense
I
you have the
mean, I mean like that object just without even entering any values. Can we just simply
you can
show
make
that?
use of it. Yeah, you can make use of it, right?
Yeah. How to do that? Can you please show that?
That's it. Say, for example, these guy, every guy is having one of the method, something called as show or name. Okay, this guy will say console.log. The student name is plus this dot name, I'll say. Okay, whenever you call this method, that method will show you the current object name. Okay, now if you see here, I say s1 dot name, sorry, s1 dot show name. If I call this guy, save this guy, come back, reload the page, inspect this guy, go to console, I say name, Mr. Raj, mark so and so 88, 45, 78, 99. When I click on generate progress card, when I say S, why it is showing as undefined? Am I calling this guy before that? No. Is it his name or S name? It is S name, right? It should be S name. Come back, reload the page. Tina. When I click on generate progress card, it is showing the name. Okay, now you got the name as Tina, fine. But now what is your question is, was that array is having some n number of details. Now if I ask show name, is it is going to get the name or not? Is that is what your question, Kumkum?
Yes, sir. Like, is it going to show all the details of every student I have added previously?
Right. I mean, every details it is going to come, but I'm just showing only with, I mean,
Yeah.
you can show in
Yeah.
the.
That will be enough, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Let me do this. Now say, for example, I will create another button so that where you want to see the objects. Say some input type equal to button, value equal to click, on click equal to show obj data. Okay, now I go here. Function show details. Now I say for loop where I equal to 0, I less than what is the object name? S details dot length I plus plus. Can I simply say S details of I dot show name? That's it. Now if you come back, reload the page, close this guy, Now I say name, Mr. Prasad. So and so. I click on generate progress card. Prasad details has come. Say some Tina. She's having some different details. Click on progress. Tina details have come. Mr. Raj. Okay, this is gone. Now, if you inspect this guy, I have the array of objects. If I simply say click, could I able to get all the data from all the objects? Once
Yes,
you
sir.
have the object, it is equal to it is having all the data also. You can call it, you can access anything you want, you can.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So please update the code as well as the class code.
Yeah, sorry guys. I mean, I think I was delaying it. I'll do it right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
for today, please do the 1 second, guys. Please do the enough practice on the objects, guys. More the practice, because in the next class, I'm going to talk about the inheritance. Right now, I have shown you only single object. How do you access it? But tomorrow, we are going to talk about how do you implement inheritance between multiple classes. What do you mean by super keyword? What do you mean by extends keyword? Those are all things we are going to discuss tomorrow.
And sir, please show us that how to, like, right now we're giving the hard coded values, like dynamically how can use the values, like implement the values.
Kumkum, if you see, we are reading the data dynamically, right? No hard coded data, right? If you see in the code,
No,
there
sir.
is no,
Okay, fine.
we are reading the data from the user. We left that hard coded data long time before. Okay. Okay, fine, guys.
So
then
there is class tomorrow?
No, Saturday is our holiday, right?
Yeah. Okay, I was just checking. You said like tomorrow. So I was just checking that there is no
okay,
class.
okay. Yeah. No, it will be on Monday.
Okay.
By mistakenly, also we won't take class on Saturdays.
Okay.
Fine, guys. Then have a happy weekend. Do the enough practice. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a good day and bye for today.
Sir,
Bye.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, just a small suggestion, sir. But whenever you write a complex function, can you just add a comment, sir, what that function is doing?
Sure, Hemant. Next time when I'm writing, please just remind me. Every time, even I also think the same, that I need to put the comments, but I miss it. But if I miss it, please remind me. I'll just add it at the time. Okay. Fine.